Everyone enjoys getting out on the town for some live music. And there's nothing like going backstage and down the hall for a VIP pass to the inside information and interviews with the bands, singers, and songwriters that you enjoy. Welcome to Hall Around Town Radio's Backstage Hall Pass, a showcase of homegrown talent, mixing independent music with personal interviews and a behind-the-scenes look at our music community. Backstage Hall Pass is your front row center seat to some great conversation with the area's most talented artists. Whether you like rock, blues, folk, country, or R&B, Backstage Hall Pass delivers you a daily dose of the stories behind the music. And now, here's the host of our show, Scott Hall.
Hey, good morning. Almost said good afternoon. Good morning, everybody. I know it's a bizarre time to be doing this at 9:30 in the morning here on a Wednesday, but it is Wednesday with the band, and our schedule's worked out to have the Johnny Fink on with us. Johnny Fink, man, I've seen him play numerous times. He is an absolute force in blues music locally. He placed in the top 8 in the world in the International Blues Challenge finals in 2017. Also, we're going to talk about his trip to Memphis this year and the Cincinnati Blues Challenge as well as we interview him today. So without any further, let me bring in a local Cincinnati favorite, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Johnny Fink. How you doing?
Good morning, Scott. How are you? Thanks for having
me. Good morning. Hey, absolutely. Glad we could finally get it worked out, get you on here. We've been wanting to do this for a long time.
Yeah.
And Johnny, you're one of those guys that when you hit the stage, your personality just absolutely overwhelms a room. You've got stage presence, man, but your playing is incredible. And you've done a lot of things in life. So let's dive right into this. Okay. Let's get into it.
I like to say it's not the age, it's the mileage.
You know? There you go. I hear you.
I've turned over a couple times. You know what I mean? So.
You've rolled that odometer a few times in the music world. So your band, it's called Johnny Fink and the Intrusion. Now that's your full band. You do some solo gigs and stuff. We'll get into that. But Johnny Fink and the Intrusion. Can you tell me a little bit about the band?
Well, the original name of this band was called the Blue Intrusions. With an S on the end, which is always a point of contention. But and my original drummer, my original bass player, Mike Dew, came up with that name. I did not come up with that name. And we had that band. We started that band in the winter of 1992. So yeah, do the math. That was 30 years ago. So we had that version of the band for about 3 years, and that was a 4-piece version. And then at about the third, fourth year, we decided to make it a 3-piece. And that's when we changed the name to Johnny Fink and the Intrusion, not the Blue Intrusions. So, and to, the story real quick is it's blues based, rock based, guitar based, music, original music. We do a lot of original music and our own version of cover songs of that type from the 50s all the way through today. So, that's kind of it in a nutshell. It's a guitar-based blues rock trio.
And as I was saying before, your guitar work is so strong and powerful, I think, from the stage, which just captures the audience right off the bat. And then you come in with these bluesy, raspy vocals that you like to throw out there. And I've seen you do a lot, even at the Bell and the Bear Jam, where you do things out of the blues genre and still can rock it out. But why did you choose blues music out of all things? And we'll go back in your history, but out of all things to be, why did you choose the blues?
Well, I've heard somebody else say this once. I didn't choose it chose me. That's kind of how it happened. I had been playing music for a long time, almost every kind of genre there was, rock, pop, country rock, everything. I had done it all. And then in the mid 80s, I heard a guy named Stevie Ray Vaughan come on the radio, and it sort of changed everything for me because to me he encapsulated everything that I had loved about rock guitar, passionate guitar, cool songwriting, and that sort of changed it for me. And from there, I just went on my own trajectory, using that inspiration of play what you feel, play what's inside of you. And that's what sort of led me here, if that makes sense.
Well, it's got soul. Your music definitely has passion to it, and anytime I see you, you exude that, and I admire your work so much for that, because they're, not to knock other artists, but there are so many artists that get up and you can tell they're going through the motions, man. They get up and they play, and they often play too much, I think. And when you do this 5-6 nights a week and you're playing the same songs and you see the same faces, it just gets a little stale. And you guys, when you hit that stage, man, it's like it's the first time you've ever been out in front of an audience, and you're going to give it your all. And I love that. But you had to start this somewhere. You had to this calling, as you just kind of made it sound like. Yeah. When did you start playing music, and why?
Oh, well, I'll try to make this as quick as I can. When I was 11, when I was 11 years old, and that was a long time ago, my father died suddenly of a heart attack. I was 11. And my mother, very intelligent lady, she realized that a young 11-year-old child without a father needs something to do. And she asked me, she says, "Do you want to take karate lessons or guitar lessons?" And I thought, karate, that's stupid. Absolutely. That was a no-brainer. Guitar lessons, right? So we go to the local YMCA in Covington, Kentucky, and I probably took 3 lessons. That was probably it. And I thought, well, this lesson thing is boring. I can figure this out. And I have an older brother that played a little bit of guitar, and he had a friend that would come over and they would play acoustic songs. And I basically just started listening and learning songs from them. And from there, it just went, and I just kept learning and growing and learning and growing and learning and growing. At one point, I went to Northern Kentucky University for their music program, and went and learned a lot of the theory behind what I was hearing and what I was playing. Learned how to play piano, which everything is based on piano from a musical standpoint. So it sort of rounded all of that out. But that's the long story short. I needed something to do. Idle's hands is the devil's workshop, my mom used to say. So they put a guitar in my hand, and the rest is history.
Mom sounded like a wise woman.
She was, yes.
Yes. Finding that for you to do at 11 years old. And right. that's for a kid, that's a tough loss, and losing your father. And you could have gone a lot of paths. And I think it looks to me like you took the right path here. And music path was a good one. And, do you remember the first song you ever learned on the guitar?
Absolutely.
What was it?
America, Sandman. There's a very slow song called Sandman by the group America, acoustic song. And what I remember the most was it has the chord F. And to play an F chord, you have to bar that chord like that. And that was so impossible to do. I thought, I will never be able to learn how to play this stuff. But I quickly learned that chord, and everything was easy after that. It was funny because most guitar players will tell you when they first learned to play guitar, that F chord was the hardest of all. So. Wow.
So some of your musical influences growing up, who were they, and who influenced you to keep this going and play music?
Well, I have 3 older siblings, so and they're very close in years. So my oldest brother, he would be listening to, Led Zeppelin and Grand Funk and all of the rock of the day. My older sister, she was listening to the Monkees and Carole King, and my other brother would be listening to ZZ Top, Eric Clapton, and Lynyrd Skynyrd. And so it's funny because today all of that is still in there. It's as if that time capsule of when I was listening to what I was influenced by as a child, it still goes through my head and out my fingers, kind of. So that's kind of how it all started, by older siblings, and you hear that a lot from people that play music, I think.
Yeah, and you're listening to that music growing up, and they're playing it for you. I mean, I was very influenced from trips across America by my parents and their 8-tracks and things like that. Exactly. And you learn you don't have any choice. You're listening to this music, so you've got to kind of pick up on it. And great comment by Joe here. Hollywood from down there at Pullman Lanes. Thank you for that. And if you're out there, guys, you want to make a comment, throw it in the comments. We'll put it up on the screen. But if you're watching after we're live, which a lot of you are going to do, please make sure you throw a comment in there. Johnny and I will have these up on our pages. We'll be able to see those comments, and he'll answer them for you. So please do that. Chris Reese is throwing one in too. We love Chris Reese. Thank you for being here. And Crease, as we like to call him. Yes. He says, amazing how those early influences inform your ongoing journey. Cool. Yeah. And it is. And influences in music are so important to people. And it's the way you steer yourself. You were telling me about the past a little bit. How about now? Is there anybody out there that's kind of a buzz that you like to watch or that you like to listen to that may be influencing you today?
There are. I try to keep my ear to the ground, although that's very difficult. The way that music is segmented and chopped up today, and the way that we basically ingest music is way different than when I was young. But there's a lot of good music out there. The problem is most of it's not on the radio. You have to go look for it. You have to go to YouTube. You have to, really go down those rabbit holes. Marcus King is a fantastic guitar player out of Carolina. I really enjoy listening to him. Of course, you have the Blackberry Smokes of the world. It's all out there. Whatever you want to hear is out there. It's just not readily available on the radio the way that you and I would just turn on the radio and get influenced by it.
Yeah, I can remember taking the old boom box or whatever and waiting to hear and hit that record button if you could, try to get that song on a cassette so you could listen to it more and those kind of things. Nowadays, everything's at your fingertips. And how have you transformed into this world of social and the world of streaming and all that? How have you been able to adapt to that?
Well, it is rather difficult because you have to figure out where your audience is. And that's a moving target. When I play shows, I have people many years older than me, and then also people many years younger than me. And each of those people have their own little worlds, and they're hard to reach. So Facebook has been a very big help to me. It's brought my world into a circle that people follow me, interact with me. But as far as releasing music, you have to basically put it out there wherever people could ingest it and digest it. Spotify, Apple Music, all of those things that you never used to do years ago. So when you release a CD, that is probably some of the biggest things you have to think about. How are you going to release it? Digital downloads, all of the above. I still prefer to make physical discs, even though some people don't. Yes, some people don't even have a disc player anymore, and I get that all the time. But of course, for those people, they can download it from Spotify or Apple Music or whatever they want. But I still come from the generation that I want to see it. I want to read what it says on there, and I want to see the pictures that are in there. Just like when I was a child and I would open the Double Lives, album from Leonard Skinner, One More from the Road, and I would stare at those pictures as I would listen to all of that music. It becomes an experience then, not just something in the background.
Yeah, and no musical artist today is getting rich off digital downloads. I mean, unless you're, in the millions and millions, it's just not happening. And it's so important, people, when you go out and if you're watching this show, to support the artist, not only in being there for them, but if they have a CD out or something and you still got that technology at home, pick it up, spend the $10 on it or whatever it is, or, buy one of their t-shirts and represent them out in public. You never know who's going to spot that logo and say, wow, I want to go check this guy out. I mean, my wife introduced me to JJ Grey that way, and she knew him and I didn't really know anything about him. And she starts listening to this stuff and I'm like, yeah, that's great music. It's fun to listen to. So, and now I'm a huge fan, and I'm a Johnny Fink fan, but I want to say, Johnny, you have a unique style. When you walk in a room, I just got to say this, and the Bell and the Bear is a great example. Okay. It's like the rock stars hit the door, man. You walk in and people turn their heads. They turn their heads. They look at you as a guy that when he's there and he's going to get up on that stage, things are going to get good. And you did a show the other night, or a song with Gina McCann, and Stormy Monday Blues. And let me tell you what, that was one of the best moments I've seen at the Bell, and I've seen a lot of them.
Yes,
and that was one of the best moments there.
Well, Gina never disappoints. So, I got to hand it to her. She's a fantastic vocalist.
She's crazy good, and you guys together, and then Derek was on the keyboards. It just became an event. And how do you feel when you do those kind of things, those impromptu things? Those aren't scheduled. Those aren't like, oh, we're going to go out and play this week here. No, those are things that just happen in the moment. Is that what you like?
I do, and that's where I get the most enjoyment and the most fun is just that impromptu, flying by the seat of your pants interpretation of a song in the moment. And to me, that's where great musicianship happens. Because you can't write it, you can't rehearse it, you can't do anything, and you have to be able to adapt in those live dynamic situations. And certain musicians are really good at that. When I played with the Four Aces, Dudley and Jay and Sonny, all three of those guys are masters at that, which was for me what made that so much fun, that journey.
And I took that in. I took that in at Autism Rocks, and you guys, wow.
But the Bell and the Bear, the Thursday night at the Bell and the Bear is that, and some people do very well at it, and that's where you see the magic happen. And for me, that's where the fun is.
And it is magic. It is. And Jamie Minnick just said that was fantabulous. So yes, it was. And so let's move down another little, as we like to call it, a rabbit hole here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about memories for a minute. Your fondest memories of music in your house, your neighborhood, town. Give me some of your fondest memories of your musical journey, Johnny.
Well, I've had a lot of them. And like I said, it's not the age, it's the mileage. So I've had a lot of musical journeys. My first, probably most recognizable one was when we were children. There were 6 kids in our family. And when we were children on Christmas Eve, my mother was musical. And she would sit and sing Christmas songs with us on Christmas Eve. And we would all sing Rudolph and all the kids' songs, right? And then we would always get to the end and she would do Silent Night, but she would sing it by herself. And we would all just sit there and be perfectly quiet and listen to her sing that, and I mean, I don't know how many years when I first remembered that, but it's been a long time, but that still stands out to me. And then, as a young man, I moved to New York City and played professionally in New York City with some pretty high powered people. Got to meet Mick Jagger, got to meet Ace Frehley, so I was in some pretty cool rooms, they say, in New York in the 80s when I lived up there. And then in the late 90s, I moved to Nashville, Tennessee, and lived down there for 5 years and rubbed elbows with a lot of pretty cool people. I recall distinctly being at a party in Nashville, and there was two guys, they were a duo, and a girl singer. And they were just sitting at a pool party, singing on the side the way that we would today. And later turns out that it was Big and Rich and Gretchen Wilson, and right before they became the biggest thing in country music, in 2000 or 2003, or whatever year that was. But, it's just, I've been fortunate to be in a lot of really cool situations. And every night I do it still today. I find myself, thinking that I'm fortunate. There's a saying, a musician has a saying that play every show like it's your last. And you were talking about, your first show, how energized you were. I always remember that. Play every show like it's your last, because we never know when the last one's coming. So I want to make it memorable, not only for the people there, but for myself.
Amazing outlook, Johnny, on that, I think. And that story with your mom, that says it all. That's the kind of memories that people cherish for a lifetime. And thank you for sharing that with us as well. Folks, we are getting a little pixelation on Johnny's feed here, but hopefully you can still see what he looks like there. And let's fast forward 2017.
Yeah.
International Blues Challenge, right?
Yes.
Tell me about that. You guys top 8. You were the best kept secret till then.
Yeah. And in fact, I think on my Facebook feed this morning, it was, well, how many years ago? It was today that we won the local blues challenge that fed that event. So 5 years ago today, we won that local blues challenge, which I had entered, I don't remember, 5 or 7 times before we ever won. So I had been trying to go down that road for a long time, but we finally got to Memphis. It was just a magical experience. Everything came together. We had some really, really well done original songs, which originality plays a part in that. They do not want to hear you play cover songs. So a lot of our original songs really started to gel and come together. And it was just a perfect storm of things that went well. And we played on the stage at the Orpheum Theater in the finals. Like I said, we were the top 8 bands in the world at that point, at that moment. And I thought we played our best show that we could. At that point, though, Scott, it's really not about better or best. It's just about taste and what the judges really think, because some judges like this type of band with a girl singer. Some judges like that kind of band with a keyboard player. It's not about best at that point. Everybody is good. It's just
Right.
It's just a matter of subject taste is all it comes down to. So
Yeah, and competition seem to always be that way. I mean, it's very subjective, and those folks who are sitting in that judge's chair, they have a tough
Right.
job when you're talking about the talent at that level. I mean, it's how do you pick somebody when everybody's so good?
You can't judge art. It's an impossible thing to do.
That's a great statement. That is really so true, and thank you for that. So you guys placed in the top 8 in this, and then you've gone on to play blues music in the Cincinnati area and across the country, actually.
Yeah.
And then you came up this year with the Blues Challenge in Cincinnati, and you went solo. What was your reason for that?
Well, I kind of figured I'd been there, done that as a band. So what's the point? I don't do a lot of solo work. I only started doing a lot more solo work during COVID, when a lot of the venues would not hire a whole band, but they would love to have some live music. So that's when I started doing solo. I started writing some more solo blues songs that turned out to be, the CD that you have, Scott, there. That's what I recorded and basically went down to Memphis and played that whole CD for the most part. Thank you. Just a month and a half ago, and did quite well. And the people that you're up against are people that do solo for a living. These are guys out there playing 4 or 5, 6 nights a week, playing just them and a guitar. That's their main thing. To me, it's not my main thing. It's my secondary thing. So to get all the way to the semifinals and probably about the top 20 in the world, just doing that as a hack.
There you go.
It was fun. Yeah.
So Cincinnati, you win the Cincinnati Blues Challenge, and they ship you to Memphis, and you're down in Memphis this year, and you had some of our local folks there. I know Ed Sawicki was there. Peter was there.
Certainly appreciate that support. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're great people. I mean, they support the blues community unbelievably with their annual blues event and so on. But you get to Memphis, and you make it into the I guess semifinals. Is that what it was called? Mm-hmm. Tell me about that experience a little bit. Playing in Memphis obviously is the birthplace of blues, if you want to call it that. How does that feel to play in front of a bunch of people that, I mean, in Cincinnati, they appreciate the blues, but Memphis, they are passionate about the blues, right?
Well, and the International Blues Challenge is the pinnacle of that. People have come from all over the world to this event because that's what they want to hear. They want to see the biggest and the best and the brightest new stars in that genre. So you have the best captive audience in the world at that event.
And blues music's alive and well, man. And if anybody tells you any different, you can, the momentum's there. I saw the event in Cincinnati. I was wowed by it. They had I don't know, 9 or 10 acts that day and all that that we got to see, including Gina's band. And that introduced me to her and, people you'd never, ever meet. You get to see at these events. And then you start seeing some of those people out and about in the clubs and things. And you say, it's a really cool blues community here locally. And they support you hands down. I mean, they really do.
They always have. And I certainly appreciate that because it is a community. And especially the musicians. We all support one another. It's not a cutthroat type of scenario that you find in some other situations. Here in Cincinnati, the blues community really does embrace and support one another. And I've been very fortunate.
Oh, amen to that. And I will say, I mean, when I see you come together with guys that equally are super talented, like Dudley Taft and Sonny Mormon and J. Jesse Johnson, I mean, those guys in their own right are superstars.
Absolutely.
And you guys all come together, and man, it looks like you're just having a blast up there. Like you're having the time of your life playing with those guys.
Yeah. To me, Scott, if I'm not having fun, I'm not going to do it. I'm too old to do it for any other reason. I got you. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And you've been involved with the Intrusion here and Johnny Fink and the Intrusion. Any other bands back in the day you want to mention that you might have been a part of for everybody who might not know about it?
Well, that's a funny story because there's really not that much. I really have focused on this project for all these years. Now, there is one project to note other than the Four Aces, and that was really just a live scenario. I have a good friend that's from Bellevue, Kentucky. If you don't know the name, Ben Walz, W-A-L-Z. Ben is a singer-songwriter, very talented guy from Bellevue, Kentucky that I got involved with years ago. We recorded 2 CDs together, and we would play as a band, not very often, but semi-regularly. In fact, we played Bunbury, 7, 8, 9 years ago. That's what that poster is right there. Yeah, Bunbury. So if you're not familiar with Ben, look him up. He's probably the best solo acoustic act in all of the greater Cincinnati area. But like I said, we did 2 CDs together with him and did some live shows over the years that really only got stopped because of COVID. We stopped playing live and have never put it back together because he's so busy playing by himself. He gets more work than all of us combined.
Very good.
So, but anyway, that's probably the one other project that outside is completely aside from my band that I would say is noteworthy.
Well, we're at a point, Johnny, here where we're going to have to start wrapping some things up. But I want to talk about your own writing, your own CDs, things that you've put out. This last one, Stories and Scars. I play a few clips from it on my show occasionally. And talk about how long does it take you to write a song? Is it some songs come quick, some songs come in a year? I mean, it kind of hit on that because I always find that interesting.
Well, you hit it right on the head. There are some songs that you have an idea for and it just doesn't gel and it takes a long time for it to come together. But quite honestly, Scott, the songs that I feel are the best, some of the best songs that I've written have all come very quickly. Literally 10, 15, 20 minutes from the idea through the lyrics, through the crafting of the arrangement have all come quickly. It's as if they come from another place and you're just the conduit. You're just the messenger that it doesn't really come from you. And some of the best songwriters in the world will say the same thing. So it's interesting because it's a labor, but then it's also just a transcendence sometimes of an idea that just comes through quickly.
Well, you have Stories and Scars out currently. Let me see if I can get that in the screen. But you also have several more, right?
Yeah, that's my latest one. The band one is probably the most well known, and this CD was in the top 25 of Living Blues a few years ago. So it's called JFI. You can see it if I can do this right. Yeah,
gotcha. I struggle with that too.
And that's the one that that really sort of put us on the map. And we have enough material to record a whole nother CD. We just haven't started the process yet. And if you've seen us play anytime live, recently, you've probably heard some of those newer songs. They just haven't been recorded yet.
Gotcha. All right. Final question, Johnny Fink. Are you ready?
Yes.
This is one I always like to ask. If you could take this stage with one person or band, past or present, who would it be?
Ooh.
That's the showstopper.
Eddie Van Halen.
Really?
I never met Eddie Van Halen, saw him many times. I met Steve Ray Vaughan, so I kind of felt like I have been there, done that with him. I never met Eric Clapton. I always wanted to meet Eric Clapton. But Eddie Van Halen was probably the one that most changed me, from a guitar player standpoint, long time ago. And God bless Eddie.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have anticipated that out of you, but it's a great answer. And Eddie Van Halen. Yesterday we did a show on the best guitarist. He took the top spot, and best guitarist of all time. Diana has said something here in the comments I want to talk about for just a second. She said you were the one that introduced her to the blues in Cincinnati, and that's got to make you smile a little bit. We all know Diana.
Yeah, we all love Diana. She's a staple in the community now, and I don't know where, but at a show many years ago, there she was taking pictures, and something connected between the two of us. In fact, she's done a lot of the artwork, the CD that you have in your hand. She did all of the photography work on that.
She's awesome and does a great job. She loves music, you can tell. And Jamie's saying, looking forward to seeing you at the Bell and the Bear on Friday. And that's lead into my final part here. Let's talk about your future gigs and where people can catch you.
Yeah, so you can always catch our shows on johnnyfink.com. I always try to keep that updated. This Friday, we'll be at the Bell and the Bear, the world famous Bell and the Bear. And then Saturday, I'll be at Mansion Hill Tavern, probably the oldest living blues bar in Cincinnati, greater Cincinnati, in Newport, Kentucky. And then next Saturday, we'll be at the Creekside Blues Festival, which is a big blues festival up in Columbus, Ohio. So we're real excited about that.
Perfect. I'm looking at some comments here that are rolling in. Eddie Van Halen getting a shout out there. That's good. So we're gonna wind this thing up, and I appreciate being able to connect with you. I know you've got a busy schedule. I've got a busy schedule today, so we're both rocking out of here and doing some things. But for those that are watching here today and you're watching afterwards, please leave some comments and questions if you have them for Johnny about his music. We'd love to hear from you. He'd be glad to answer them. He's going to share it on his page.
Yeah,
I'll share it on my page, and we'll take a look at all those things. Johnny, anything else you want to share with the audience before we let you go today?
No, I just really appreciate you, Scott, and the support of your audience, and look forward to seeing you guys out at an event sometime soon.
Well, and we look forward to seeing you. And this Friday night, Bell and the Bear, as Johnny said, the award-winning, legendary Bell and the Bear, great music venue in Cincinnati. Karis does such a great job of keeping that place up and running and good things happening there. So, Johnny, we appreciate you guys. Follow him, Johnny Fink and the Intrusion on Facebook, or johnnyfink.com on the World Wide Web. And you can check out all his info shows, and they can even pick up one of your CDs, right?
I always have them with me, yes. And I owe you a couple of the old ones, Scott. Next time.
I got to pick those up so we can play them. Johnny, I'll give you a choice, my friend. We're going to do, let's see, what are we looking at here? We're going to do New Girl Blues, or I Don't Want You.
Yeah, I Don't Want to Want You Now. That was one of those songs that, like you were saying earlier, came quickly, and it just came out just like that. And it's a fun little song. So let's do that.
All right, let's play it on the outro. Thanks for watching, everybody. You've been watching Wednesday with the Band with the Johnny Fink. Thanks, folks. We'll see you next time tomorrow here at All Around Town Radio. Come on. There we go.
When I see you, babe, don't wear that dress too tight. When you walk by, try not to look so right. 'Cause when you come home, child, I don't want you now. No, when you come home, child, I don't want you now. You done me wrong for the last time now. You broke my heart just like our old wedding vow. When you come back, please don't stay too long. go back yonder, wherever he is from. So you come home, child, I don't want you now. No, when you come home, child, I don't want you now. No.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. We're out of here.